أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير. ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير. وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير. إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير. وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب السعير. إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة تسبق الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أرواحنا له فداء. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Ramadan Mubarak. Inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us in this month of Ramadan to develop a relationship with the Quran, with the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, this is part of the dua that we recite on the second day of Ramadan. And of course, today may be the first day of Ramadan. For many, it is the second day of Ramadan for others. But in either case, on our second day, whichever day it may be of Ramadan, we recite the dua of that day, wherein we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq and success of connecting with His Quran, with His revelation. So for this blessed month of Ramadan, I've chosen to give a tafsir, a brief tafsir of Surah Al-Mulk, that is chapter 67 of the Quran. And Surah Al-Mulk it has several names which the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has given this chapter. One of those names is Al-Mani'ah. The other is Al-Munjiyah. In one of the traditions that is related to Ibn Abbas, he stated that the Prophet of Allah told him about Surah Al-Mulk, Hiya al-Mani'ah wa Hiya al-Munjiyah. And the reason for the names of this verse as being Mani'ah and Munjiyah, as we also find in the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salatu wasalam, that whoever recites this chapter before going to sleep, then that person will be spared from the torment and the pain of the grave, and likewise from the hellfire. So Surah Al-Mulk, it is a chapter in the Quran that has 30 verses. This chapter, I think it would be particularly useful to us that if during this blessed month of Ramadan, if a person simply takes one verse at a time, one verse a day, so today will be the first for many to take the first verse. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Tabarakalladhi biyadihi al-mulk wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And truly reflect upon this verse to understand that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is meaning by this verse. What does he mean by al-barakah? What is this barakah? Whereas the commentators, they state al-barakah is kathra. So what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mean by this? And if we search in the other chapters of the Quran for this idea and this concept of barakah, if we search in the Quran for the concept and the idea of mulk, if we search in the Quran for the idea and the concept of qadr and qudra. So this may be one practice that we can do during this blessed month of Ramadan as we are giving the tafsir of Surah Al-Mulk. This will maybe homework for those of you who are participating in this tafsir of the Quran, which we will give on Saturdays. And on Tuesday, inshallah, we will have a discussion surrounding the tafsir of the Quran and also other matters that individuals they may have questions about. Nonetheless, going back to this Surah Al-Mulk, and getting a better picture of Surah Al-Mulk. Surah Al-Mulk is one of the chapters of the Quran that was revealed in Mecca or during the Meccan period. So it is a Meccan chapter of the Quran. And as we've mentioned before, the general tone of the Meccan chapters is to correct the aqidah, the ideology of the pagans during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also anyone who is living in that area. It also is something that will help us even today to refine our belief and our understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, as we will read in Surah Al-Mulk. Surah Al-Mulk, it has three central ideas that if we take all of these verses in Surah Al-Mulk and we divided the verses into different groupings, we'll find that there are three major ideas. And this goes hand in hand with the general theme or aspect of the Meccan chapters, that it comes to correct the ideology, the thinking, the connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first major idea within Surah Al-Mulk, within these verses, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is putting forth proof for His qudra and His azama, for His greatness and for His power. According to some of the mufassirin, some of the commentators of the Quran, they said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's also putting forth a proof, as they say, ithbatu wujudillah. But if you have participated in some of our classes of Al-Kalam, of theology, then we will understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Imam Ali alayhi wasallam, he stated that he did not send forth prophets to establish the proof of God's existence because it is something that is in the fitrah, and the innate nature of humanity. But many people have lost their way with regards to that nature, and so the prophets have come to awaken that fitrah, to come and to put that fitrah back upon the right path in a straight direction. So whether we accept this or not, then yes, it may be a proof for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because in it we will find some of the burhan that the theologians, they also used with regards to establishing the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if we take that position of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, then we will understand that it is redirecting the fitrah. So that first major idea within Surah Al-Mulk is that it gives proof for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness and His power, His authority. The second major idea in Surah Al-Mulk, as some of the commentators have pointed out, it is to redirect or to give a new outlook and perspective to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, to humanity, with regards to connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, connecting to their creator, connecting us to someone who has true authority, as it is said, haqiqatul qudra, that whatever power, whatever authority that we can imagine, whatever kingdom, mulk, that we can imagine, there is no kingdom like that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no authority like that of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the these kingdoms, when we look at the history of mankind, that many folks, they speak about or they talk about, even historically, is the kingdom of Sulaiman, that his kingdom was vast. And until this day, there was no kingdom as big or as great as Sulaiman. Again, his kingdom encompassed both humanity and also jinn. According to some of the narrations regarding the kingdom of Sulaiman, said that he had 800 on his left, on his right, which were men who were his part of his kingdom, just simply a part of those individuals who were helping Sulaiman. And then on the other side, on his left side, either 800 or more jinn who were also helping Sulaiman. They were part of his administration. They were part of those individuals who would assist Sulaiman. So Surah Al-Mulk puts that perspective, or gives us a new perspective to look at with regards to the dominion, the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His qudra, and connecting to that authority and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, it gives us a means to look into and connect to that metaphysical aspect of this world so that we can connect to. The third major idea that we find in Surah Al-Mulk is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts forth a hujjah, He puts forth a proof against the disbelievers. All those who rejected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's revelation, those who rejected the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who came to give good tidings to mankind and also to warn mankind against disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So those who chose to disbelieve, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put forth in Surah Al-Mulk a proof, a hujjah against them. So these are the main ideas in Surah Al-Mulk. And these main ideas are directly connected, as we can see, to the title and the name of the surah, Surah Al-Mulk, the chapter of the kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because that kingdom establishes the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because quite often when we think of power, when we think of authority, we often look towards the qudra. We often look to the possession of a king, or what a king owns, and what his or her dominion, or queen is, what their dominion is, that how far their authority stretches. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He states, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ الْمُلْكُ وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So that nothing in existence is outside the authority and the qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing is outside of His kingdom and His dominion. One of the things that we should also take into consideration as we think about this kingdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that relationship between the first verse, or that idea of this surah, and the last verse of Surah Al-Mulk. In the last verse of Surah Al-Mulk, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَصْبَحَ مَاؤُكُمْ غَوْرًا فَمَنْ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِمَاءٍ مَعِينٍ. He says that if the water in this world, if it went into a cave, it just went underwater, underground, it went to a place that there was no access to, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He asks this question. He says, so who will bring this water back for you? Who will bring it forth? Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is command, His authority is far beyond our understanding. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His authority, as we will read in this chapter, particularly as we look at the first kind of section or group of verses, and that is verse 1 through 5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He establishes very clearly the authority and the power that He has. So in the second verse of Surah Al-Mulk, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْغَفُورُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's kingdom and His authority is such that He is the one who creates life and death. So life and death is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we look at the vision or the understanding or the perception that many kings or even queens they have had, they assume that they have the rights of life and death, that life and death of their subjects are in their hand. So if their subjects are obedient to them, then they allow them to live. They allow them to partake of the land and whatever wealth and things that these subjects have. But if they cross the king or they cross the queen, then immediately they will give an order for execution. And so they think that this is in their hands. Just as the story of Fir'aun in the Quran, we see that the Pharaoh, that when he did not like what the Prophet Musa was doing, to call the people towards justice, to call even Fir'aun towards justice, and even at the understanding that there was a prophecy for a prophet to come that will, again, call people towards justice, even Pharaoh himself, the thing or his action was to kill the men and to leave the women alive, meaning that he assumed that the power of life and death was in his hands. But Fir'aun, he did not even have the power to save himself. It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who is the one who has authority over life and death. Again, this shows the qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that qudrat al-haqiqiyya, that true power, true authority is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as He states, خَلَقَ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ تِبَاقًا وَمَا تَرَى فِي خَلْقِ الرَّحْمَنِ مِنْ تَفَاوُتٍ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has created the heavens and earth, the 7 layers of heaven, and He placed one on top of the other, He says, and you do not find in that any discord in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This particular verse, as we mentioned before, that as some of the commentators, they state that the chapter of Mulk, it is there to establish the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yes, from the perspective of the theologians, mutakallimin, they will point to this verse, verse 3 and verse 4, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He calls us to look at His creation, what He has created. Look at the heavens, look at the earth, look at what He has created in that, and we will find that there's no discord, So they will say that this is referring to the Burhan an-Nadhm, the proof of order with regards to this creation, that how it is in order, and that shows that there must be an intelligent agent, or an intelligent agent who has put forth this order in order for a particular outcome, for a particular purpose. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this, He tells us to look at this creation and look again, and you will see that in it there's great order. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, in Nahj al-Balagha, he also makes a comment with regards to this particular verse, or what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He states therein. He says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one الذي ابتدع الخلق على غير مثال امتثله. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who has created this world. He has created whatever we see in existence without any pattern, without anyone who has created before Him. So this shows the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا مِقْدَارٍ احْتَذَى عَلَيْهِ مِنْ خَالِقٍ مَعْبُودٍ كَانَ قَبْلَهُ. So there was no creator before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this should, again, guide us to the understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His greatness, His azama, and His qudra, and His power and authority. Thereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He states, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that we have made beautiful the skies of this world, the heavens of this world, with celestial bodies, with stars. And these celestial bodies and these stars, that they are those things which, again, keep the shayateen, keep them away. They keep them out of this heavens or the stars. One of the commentaries regarding this verse is that the jinn, that they would listen to the Quran, that before it was actually revealed in this world, they would listen to the revelation. So they would hear it before even mankind heard the revelation. And because some of them heard this revelation, and particularly those jinn who were not the believers, they would come, they would use that, and they would twist or try to give waswas to the believers, to take them off the path, to sway mankind in a direction away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put a barrier between, again, the jinns who were coming to hear the revelation before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it to mankind. And according to some, they said that these barriers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He describes them as stars, as celestial bodies. And some commentaries, they say that they were angels who were protecting, and who were protecting that heaven, or that path in which Jibreel, he would come down and he would reveal, so that there would be no one among the jinn that could hear the revelations of the Quran. One of the very interesting, also, we would say, ta'wil, or the you could say more esoteric commentaries about this verse 5 of Surah Al-Mulk, is that the scholars, or those who are connected with the spiritual development, they have often said that this world in its entirety is a reflection of humanity themselves. That mankind, very beautiful statement, they say that that this world is the smaller world, but the greatest world is within ourselves. That we ourselves are a universe. And so what we see in this universe, it reflects within ourselves. So just as in this universe we find that the trees and the plants, they die and they come back to life, and so does mankind. It's simply a reflection of that. And so likewise, they point to this verse as well, stating that the stars were the barriers between the shayateen and the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the shayateen could not hear the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the stars. And so they say that the believer who recites the Quran, as it relates to one of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says that believer, whenever he or she recites the Quran, they are like a star on this earth. So when the angels, they look down upon the earth, they see these bright lights that shine like stars. And so when the angels, they ask that, what are these bright lights? What are these sparkling lights that are shining like these stars in the heavens, in the sky? They said that these are the believers who are reciting the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So those who are connected with the spiritual interpretation of this verse, they say that it is the Quran that is the stars which are the barriers between the believer and the shayateen. That when you recite the Quran, you ward off the waswas, the whispers of the shayateen, the devilish whispers of the shayateen, to protect oneself, to protect one's soul, and to enrich one's spiritual aptitude. So also within this first group of verses, one of the things which is clear, and we should understand, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He speaks about His kingdom, He speaks about this mulk, the understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting forth for humanity to grasp is to understand that there are two types of kingdoms. Of course, one of those kingdoms we are quite familiar with, and that is the worldly or the mundane kingdoms. And even among these kingdoms, we'll find that these two types will also apply. So there's the kingdom which is established based on tyranny, based on injustice, that which we see is within the history of mankind is quite often the norm, that one group of people will come up, or one individual who will come up, he will lead other people to subject others to his authority, or likewise a queen to subject others to her authority, and establish a kingdom. So that kingdom is based upon rift between mankind. It is based upon in whoever has the power, or as they say, that only the fit and the strongest survive. But then the other type of kingdom is a divine kingdom that is based upon the justice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He speaks about in His revelation. It is a divine kingdom which also takes mankind back towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the type of kingdom that Sulaiman, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. As we see in Surah As-Sad, that is chapter 38 of the Quran, verse 35, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He narrates the statement of Sulaiman. Sulaiman, he says, قَالَ رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَحَبَّ لِي مُلْكًا لَا يَنْبَغِي لِأَحَدٍ مِنْ بَعْدِي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابِ. So Sulaiman, he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, forgive me and give me a kingdom like no one else. So give me a kingdom that even no one after me will have such a kingdom. Innaka antal wahhab. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, surely you are the one who is the giver. You're the one who can give such a kingdom. And so that is a divine kingdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He set up under the authority of Sulaiman. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, empowered and gave Sulaiman a kingdom and authority, which again was based upon the divine principles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set forth in His revelations. So that divine kingdom is a one of justice, one that, as we read the next group of verses, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sets forth a warning to the non-believers, a warning to those who have rejected Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a warning of those who rejected this divine idea and concept of authority. Because if they have rejected this, then again their principles, their way of life is not based on the way of life of justice. So Sulaiman, for example, if they rejected his authority, or if they rejected the authority of the prophets who even came after Sulaiman, those who came before Sulaiman, they rejected that the establishment of justice upon this earth, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as he states, starting from verse 6 of Surah Al-Mulk, وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمْ, that those individuals who reject Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ, that they will have the punishment of hell. وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرُ, and it is the worst of punishments. And this punishment, as we are stating, that it is one that is based upon justice, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's kingdom is a kingdom of justice. It is a kingdom which eventually will be established on this earth. As the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he stated that even if one day is left in this world, then the Mahdi, he will come and he will establish justice, as it has been filled with injustice. It being filled with injustice, again, is that wrong or a skewed concept of power and authority. A power and authority that only lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is one that when the non-believers, when the disbelievers, when they will enter into hellfire, they themselves, they will attest to that what their state was in this world. That when they will be placed in the hellfire, كُلَّمَا أُلْقِيَ فِيهَا فَوْجٌ سَأَلَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَذِيرٌ. So the angels, they will ask, as it says in verse 8, they will ask these individuals that as they are placed in the hellfire and they will, the fire continues to go ablaze, they will say, did not a warner come to you? Did not someone come to you to warn you? This is the third idea that we mentioned, one of the major ideas in Surah Al-Mulk that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he puts forth, is that hujjah, that it was not, that no one will be punished, no one will be placed into hellfire except that a warner has come to them and they have rejected this warner. They have rejected that message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these individuals themselves, they will respond, they will say that, you know, فَكَذَّبْنَا وَقُلْنَا مَا نَزَّلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. They will say that, well, we belied. We lied about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending a warner, and we also, stated and we lied with regards to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed. We said that He revealed nothing. And the angels who will guard the hellfire, they will say, In antum illa fi dhalalin kabir, that you are in a true loss. Again, because they've misguided themselves. They will also attest, وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. They said, only if we had listened to the prophets, only if we had applied our intellect, that guide which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, then we would not be in the state that we are. We would not be among those individuals who are condemned and damned to hell. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, this shows or points back also to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power, His qudra, that He has the power and ability to punish. Likewise, He is the one who has the power and ability to forgive. One of the things that we seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed month of Ramadan, that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins, to forgive our shortcomings, again, to attach us to this revelation of His, so that we may correct ourselves, so that we may, again, avoid that pitfall of the Ashabus Sa'ir, those individuals who rejected the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those individuals who refused to hear the revelation, who refused to hear the warning of the Prophet and the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim wa salatu wasalam, those individuals who did not apply their intellect in understanding the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He has sent forth to us in His Quran, in the way of life of Rasulullah, in the way of life of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He gives each and every one of us tawfiq, success in our fasting during this blessed month of Ramadan, and may He also give us success in reading the Quran and connecting to the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.